it's important.
Yeah, it really does change how you view the world. It really does. A lot of useful stuff in there.
Yeah, man, absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, you ready? You got any questions? Are you ready to dive right in?
No, I'm ready, man.
You're ready.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, this is it.
All right, man. Well, Thomas Musial, did I say that right?
Yeah, Musial. Yeah.
Musial, yeah. I was on the way here. I kept in my head calling you Chris.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to welcome you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Talk a little bit about web design,
Yeah.
SEO, all that good stuff. I know guys like me, content creators, entrepreneurs, businesses, it's super important.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a great chat. It's definitely a topic that's been top of my interest.
Yeah.
Especially because I do create a lot of content, and, you know, it's one thing to create content, but you want it to drive traffic.
Yeah.
So why don't we start off before we get too deep into it? Why don't you give us a little background? Tell us about yourself for the viewers.
So I've always been into design since I was younger, always a creative kind. And I was in university for computer science for 2 years. And then I decided to drop out and pursue web design full time because I just didn't like school. I felt like it was kept you in a container, couldn't really do any creativity. And I'm more of the creative type.
Yeah.
And I've just seen what you can do with a social media following and an online school. I feel like that's kind of the new way to go.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't really like too caught up on it now, so it's kind of a newer thing. But I feel like with all the information online, ChatGPT, Google, an online presence, you can make a lot of money online. So that's kind of what I'm trying to prove. The online route can be better than school in some cases. That's what I'm trying to prove right now.
Right on. So how's that been going for you? Why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of your journey from being a student, like, you know, from my vantage point as well, like I did the whole school bit because we were kind of told that we had to do it. It was like, you got to go to university, and I'm sure my viewers are probably tired of me. I mentioned it a few times, but it's like, you know, Grandpa and Dad, you got to go to university, get a degree, get a job with a pension, a salary, benefits. And meanwhile, they're running, you know, their fishing businesses, carpentry, electrical. They're the masters of their own, you know, world. And for some reason, they're like, oh, you don't want to work with your hands. This is too much. Like, we want a better life for you.
Yeah.
And it always struck me kind of odd because, you know, I was like, man, I want what they have.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy, you know, that makes the decisions and pushes the business and what have you. So I'm just a little curious because I know another fella, kind of similar story, not your background, but similar thing, went to school, was kind of told that was what he was supposed to do, started a business, took off, got traction, school fell behind, parents started being not that happy with the grades because they were paying for it. And then it kind of come to a point where they're like, hey man, like we don't really want to pay for C's.
Yeah.
So if you're that busy, why don't you just go for it?
Yeah.
So how was dropping out of school? How was the perception from your family?
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, kind of let us know how that's been going.
Yeah. So the first year of school, it was pretty good because I didn't have any experience really. I was in computer science too. So that's for.
And did you have like interest in it prior to getting into school? Or
I was always interested in computers. I played a lot of video games growing up.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would say video games helped way more for what I'm doing now compared to just regular school.
In what facet?
Yeah, you just had to learn how to like beat the game. You had to go find information online and how to implement those fashions of work. A lot of things like that.
So you find that like that kind of really lines up with programming, web design. Like you can't just, it's not all in a book. Sometimes you got to go elsewhere, find the answer, apply it to what you're doing and project wise.
And just like I played NBA 2K, like a basketball game. You have to figure out what the best builds are, how to upgrade your character and all those types of things. And it's really, and Grand Theft Auto, you just learn how to really grind it out in front of a screen all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like just things like that.
I'm a little ashamed to admit, so I don't know, like, I never thought of myself as like much of a gamer, but I did go through a gaming phase, obviously, in high school.
Yeah.
I was never a original Warcraft player, but then World of Warcraft come out, and a bunch of guys that I was hanging out with were into it, and I really got into that. So I can attest to, like, you got a character, but there's also inside of those characters, there's different classes, there's different build skill set trees that you got to build your skill set, and there's different ways to do it to, amass different abilities.
Yeah.
So, and I have a little bit of a base knowledge of very base.
Yeah.
I got a few, you probably can't see it, but like intro to Python.
Yeah.
I did an intro level 1 Python programming course on Coursera.org.
Oh yeah.
Had an interest kind of when I was working in the corporate world, I was kind of getting a little bored, and I wanted to kind of learn something. And I was like, oh, well, the way of the internet and programming and computers is definitely not going away. And if I could learn, some facet of that, maybe I could make myself less disposable in the eyes of the current business that I was working for. Mind you, didn't quite get there. I got structured out, non-performance related, but, definitely understand that, there's different ways of learning, and it's not always all from books or all from school. Kind of got to apply some experience and different facets to get to where you're going. So, what were some of the learnings from, your initial stages starting out as a young entrepreneur? Maybe a few good, a few bad, maybe for those that are maybe in your situation you were in, not really enjoying school.
Yeah.
And they're kind of maybe looking to branch out into something they're interested in or always had been.
Yeah. I'd say you definitely need self-awareness, and you have to know who you are. So I always knew I was a design guy. So you have to know what you're good at. Mine's design. And then you also have to know, what do people value? Like, I could do drawings all day. That's fine. But to me, I think people would value being really good at websites versus just regular drawing. So you definitely need to know what you can be best at and go all in on that, and figure out how you can be useful to other people. I'd say figure out that first.
Yeah. Okay. So what would have been some of the bigger hurdles for you when you were starting your business?
Just definitely getting the name out there. I'd say the technical stuff, not too hard, to be honest. Like, especially with ChatGPT. And I've just always been good at design, so it's easy to get the skill, but to let people know you have the skill and to sell it, like the advertising and sales, marketing, is a lot harder, I'd find. So getting the name out there.
So can you share with us maybe how you accomplished that? Did you rely on some connections from your network? I know your dad, obviously, from my work, work colleagues. He's very well connected.
Yeah.
Kind of bring us through, a few of the first steps where you maybe got your first opportunity.
Yeah, so I would always just post the work I was doing on my Instagram. That's how I got my first client. And I would just ask people if I can make a website for free. That's how I got my very first one. I asked a friend who had a social media following if I could make a website for him for free. And I did that. But he gave me some money, so it was nice. And just everyone I spoke to, just out in public, like, they knew I was making websites, working every day.
Yeah.
So you just got to tell everyone a lot and again, because people forget so much. You just got to get their attention. And you really got to be working, making cool stuff to get their attention as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so did you find like you were hitting up networking events, or were you kind of reaching out online, or?
Yeah, my dad would take me to networking events. We're actually going to one a bit later in December as well. So that's how I've gotten a good amount of my clients. Just going to events with my dad, I tell them I make websites, and especially real estate people that are not really like super technical. So I'm in a good market in that sense.
Yeah, and we actually met at a networking event. We met at the Lebanese Chamber of Commerce. That was a great event.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. Were you able to make any more connections there? Or?
No, you were the only one there, I believe. But yeah, every networking event you get one step closer. So it's been good. Just keep going to those. Yeah.
So when did you kind of realize that web design was kind of your jam? What drew you to it, and when did you recognize that there was some white space in the Halifax market in terms of web design and SEO?
Yeah, so I actually it was one of the courses I took in school. It was a web design course. And once I found, because I was always been into drawing, once I found you could put your own drawings on a website, man, I was kind of hooked after that. I just kept doing it. Just kept interesting me. And at the same time, the other courses in school were just seeming like so useless. And yeah, websites just really connected to me because I could just put whatever I want on there. It's design, it's programming. But yeah, I remember the first time I imported one of my pictures onto a website, that was it. I was like, wow, this is cool stuff. I can really go all in on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I've talked to different, entrepreneurs, realtors, business folks. Some are very old school. They rely on kind of the old school methods of, getting out there, doing the networking events. And I have a lot of friends that are very great and successful realtors that, kind of made it without anything really, almost pre-social media or just at the infancy of like Facebook, Instagram, and, you talk to 5 different people, you probably get 5 different answers. But some people are like, oh, yeah, you don't need a website.
Yeah.
What do you say to people like that?
Yeah, maybe you don't need one, but it could certainly help a lot, especially for a first impression. If you have all your stuff on there displayed nicely, it can really make a huge difference on how people perceive you. And then from there, if people perceive you higher in a higher status, you'll be able to get better negotiations, better deals, things like that.
Yeah.
Save you a lot of time too, if you have some educational content on there that you don't have to keep explaining to your clients.
Yeah. So what would be like the biggest benefit for an established business for having like a high quality website?
I would say they can put the social proof on it to see they've been doing it for a long time. And especially if they have a very well-designed one, it's like having a nice car, They'll just that your clients will think they know what they're doing because they have all of these nice things. I'd say that's the biggest benefit.
So you feel like it builds some of your online kind of credibility.
Yeah, credibility and trust. Yeah.
Yeah. So for a guy like myself, I do a lot of content.
Yeah.
Obviously trying to drive traffic and leads from that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I could benefit from a custom website and what would some of those benefits be in terms of not just only, showing that I am a professional and I know what I'm talking about, but would there be any benefits for me in terms of lead generation, traffic, and how would that kind of come about?
Yeah. For the lead generation, you have to use specific keywords for whatever search you're trying to rank for. So you can go to websites and you can see how many searches certain keywords are getting. Like maybe realtor in Halifax gets like 200 a month. So on your website, you can put realtor in Halifax a lot of times. So that's probably the best way to get more clients on it. And you can do blog posts too with the keywords. That's how you'll get traffic through your website. And you also need a high time on your website. Like if people just go on it for like half a second then back out.
Would that be considered like a click-through rate?
Yeah, click-through rate, things like that. Yeah, you need to have people on your website for a long time for it to rank high in Google too.
Yeah, and can you kind of give like kind of maybe a high-level synopsis on like SEO and what it is and for people that maybe don't like, what is SEO? It's just a bunch of letters. Like
Yeah, in terms of being found on Google, it's Google searching through websites that have the keywords that you put in the search engine. And then it will also look at the website, how many backlinks it has. Like if a lot of other websites link to your website, it's more of like, it's like having a high follower count on an Instagram, that equivalent. If Google sees a website that has 100 other websites linking to it, it will perceive it as a high authority website and rank it higher. It will look at your watch time on your website to rank it higher, keywords. So it's Google looking through websites based off those factors, and it ranks them highest based off those.
Yeah. So let's just say, like, I have a website through Remax. I've been kind of looking into myself. It's something I've been exploring recently. I have a free website. It's just through our Bold Trail CRM. I don't have a custom URL, although I had bought a few. Would there be any benefits for the website in terms of like any synergies from having a website and say your Instagram content? Is there any way that you can drive traffic using your content on your website page in order to kind of accelerate some of the visibility and traffic to your business?
Yeah.
And how would you kind of accomplish that?
What I do, I have my Instagram for my coding, and then I have the link in my bio from the Instagram, and it takes them to the website. So I'm sure you could do it the other way around. Have the website, have all the keywords, people find it through Google, and then you can link your Instagram on your website, and they can find it through there.
Okay.
So yeah, you could do that.
So just in regards to keywords and like, it kind of sounds like, and I've been recently diving into it. Speaking of Coursera, I was like, you know what? I'm pretty busy, but this time of year, things tend to slow down a little bit leading into the Christmas time, holiday season, New Year's. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take some of this downtime and I'm going to try and learn a little bit of this topic. And to be honest, it's been pretty monotonous and boring because we're getting through some of the intro pieces of like what SEO is, the different types, like on-site SEO, off-site SEO, backlinks, and it's all like basically Mandarin to me.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff
at this point. But like for a guy like me, obviously SEO, if you're going to hire somebody, could be pretty expensive, especially if there's website design kind of encompassed in that. And I've just been trying to dabble into it a little bit. Speaking of, let's just talk about keywords.
Yeah.
Let's just say I want to optimize my YouTube page a bit better, get some better performance on my Instagram. Once I get my website, whether I stick with the free one and try and optimize that one or go with a custom one. And maybe we can get into that a little bit later, which one would be better.
Yeah.
But like, let's just say I want to look up, how do I look up keywords? Is there a free resource that you can use? Because I was diving into a few yesterday when I was doing some studying, and I found everything's got it's like a $50-$100 a month or whatever it is to kind of get access to that information. So for the average guy that maybe isn't quite confident in his ability to do it, is there any facets inside of that SEO environment where there's a free resource where I can explore these keywords and maybe just kind of dabble before I really invest in a monthly subscription on a platform?
Yeah, I use SEMrush, and you can see all the search data on
That's
there.
the one I looked for.
Yeah.
But you pay for that.
Yeah, I think you can get like a week or two of a free trial. But yeah, in terms of how many times a certain keyword is searched, I don't know of any free ones that are free for always. But I'd say, SEMrush is what I use right now.
Yeah. So that they would have a database of the top key rank.
Yeah, you can just search up any keyword you want, and you can see how many searches there are per month and how difficult it is to rank on that particular keyword.
Yeah, so when it comes to like keeping your website to the top in terms of rankings, say in the Google sphere, can you speak to kind of how that works and how you keep on top of that? Is it like a daily grind? Is it a weekly grind? Is it a monthly thing? Is it something that people can manage on their own, or do they really need a fella like yourself to really manage that on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis?
Yeah, I'd say it's a weekly thing, probably, if you really want to do it well. But what you need to keep your website good, you have to update it pretty frequently. Like right now for someone's website I'm doing, I put blog posts up on their website, like new ones, with the keywords about every 2 to 3 days just to keep it fresh. Because you have the basic structure of your website. Maybe that won't change. But then you just have to keep updating it like that. And you have to make sure the performance is high. So you can put it through like these search or these performance tests. And if they're all on 100, then it will be good. But I'd say those two things, the blog posts, having the keywords, and high performance, and a high retention time on your websites is what will keep it on it. And also building backlinks, getting other websites to link to your website. I'd say those are the best ways to keep your website high on Google.
And can you give me an example of like, how would you get your links on other websites and how would you kind of build that up?
Yeah, so you can go to other people who run blogs on websites and just ask them if you can put a blog on their website and link it back. So it's like an outreach type of thing to other people. And for my case, I'm writing blogs on someone else's website, but I can always link it back to my website because I'm the developer. So I can say developed by Focus Flow Software. That's my company.
Okay.
So that helps for me. But for other people who don't run websites, you have to go reach out to other people, ask if you can put a blog on their website. That's the most popular way to do it.
So when you say it's linking back to your website, is there just like a URL link in the blog post that brings it back to the main content?
Yeah. Or so if I posted a blog on your website, let's say, I would say this blog was written by Thomas Musial, and then I would just have a link on it on your website, and it would lead to my website.
So there's a little bit of like networking per se involved in the whole SEO sphere as well, because you got to kind of hook up with other people that have blogs or websites and see if you can link your content on their page back to you. Yeah,
so it's not all just technical stuff. You do have to know the networking in that sense. But yeah, that's probably the most difficult way because you have to go out of your way to do that, but it's one of the most beneficial.
So let's talk a bit about blogs.
Yeah.
I was always under the impression that like blogs were kind of like one of the first things that kind of come about on the internet.
Yeah.
And, you know, in my opinion, or at least my knowledge of things, I thought that like blogs were kind of a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But it seems that they're not. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on the value and maybe the benefits that they can provide?
Yeah, I'd say they definitely still have some use. Like last night, I wrote a blog post on my client's website. She does like cash for houses. So I did why you don't have to necessarily renovate your home before you sell it. So it's just little bits about your business that maybe you don't want to make a whole new page about, but you just want to get it out there. It's like more educational content about your business. And the page itself, it's like very easy to set up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would there be any benefit to just having a pure blog website, or would you always want it kind of linked back to some more robust content, we'll call it?
Yeah.
If that's the right way to put it.
Yeah, you can just have a blog website. That's what a lot of people do. And then they can get other people to ask them to put their content on it for the backlink. So that could be a pretty profitable thing. Yeah, if you have a good online blog. So there's definitely value in that. But then if you have the more robust structure, like you have your business website, the blog posts definitely will help as well primarily for search ranking and saving you time because your clients don't have to ask you for whatever content they need. They can just find it on the website.
Gotcha. Yeah. So like I run a YouTube page. Obviously this podcast goes on there. I do short format, what I share on Instagram and TikTok, I put it in YouTube shorts as well. Yeah. And I noticed you can like download transcripts, and a lot of time I do that for the YouTube upload. So I'll go in and I'll actually use ChatGPT to go through the script, the transcript, and I'll tell it to kind of act as my SEO kind of person and to optimize what's in the transcript for a title, for a description. Yeah. And it kind of like sets it up for me. And, some posts works very well. Some doesn't hit quite as good. I haven't really figured out what is the differentiating factor in like good performance versus bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving the good prompts. Do you have any tips on ChatGPT and maybe some ways that myself and maybe some of the viewers could use it better? Yeah,
it's definitely a huge part of what I do, especially for programming. Yeah, I use it like every day. I'd say I use it a lot for coding, maybe not so much for advertising, but I would say you have to find whatever keywords you have and then ask it to optimize for those keywords. I'd say that's the best way. You can also use it to organize a lot of data. That's another way I use it a lot. Like I'll just give it a bunch of stuff. I'd say what's working with this, what's not, or what are the main factors or common factors in all this data I have. I'd say that's how you can use ChatGPT to boost your stuff.
So let's just say some people maybe like I pay for the subscription. Yeah. Just gives you a little bit more access to information, current, relevant from today. And, I think there's a bit of a learning curve with ChatGPT on even how to use it.
Yeah.
Would you have any resources or tips on like people that are new or looking to kind of like better utilize ChatGPT? Is there a course? Is there somewhere you can learn, or can you ask ChatGPT to tell you how to use it best?
Yeah, I would say ask ChatGPT, but really you just got to spend a lot of time. Like I've never really bought any courses of any kind. Like me, I can just go like all day, just keep grinding at it until I figure it out. I've never bought any courses. I'm not saying they're bad, but that's just my way of doing it. I just do it so much until I get it.
Yeah. So how would you have learned like your chat GPT skills? Like,
yeah, I just kept using it for whatever I was trying to complete. I remember I started to use it for programming. I would just ask it how to do something, and then it would do it for me. But at first, I had no idea what it was saying. Like I didn't really understand the code. But then I would finish my project with ChatGPT and then just analyze the whole thing, ask it to break down parts I didn't understand. It's really like a tutor. That's how you have to use it. Just ask it anything you don't understand. And once you have the answer, just really make sure you analyze it to make sure you understand it. Just keep going.
Just keep hammering.
Yeah, that's really like all I can say, man. It's like kind of like the gym. Like you can do the best stuff, but if you're not going hard, like you're not gonna make the gains. You just really, yeah. I'm just kind of like a keep grinding type of guy.
Consistency.
Yeah, super consistent.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key for success in anything. Is like you can't just like get after it one day and expect these big results to kind of follow.
It's slow, man.
It's a day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the blogs for a quick second. Yeah. And I was doing this, and then I kind of fell off because I was like, blogs, there's not going to be any value in this. But one thing I was doing, and you could tell me if this is the right approach. So obviously I do short format content. I post it on all the platforms. But back to the transcripts you can take off of YouTube. I started, like, I do a lot of, like, my first few years where I wasn't as busy. I had a lot of time. And I did a lot of, like, real estate tips, like buyer tips, seller tips, listing your home in the fall, you know, what to look for, what not to look for, things not to do. Would you see value in like taking the transcripts from those videos and then posting them as separate blog points?
Yeah, I would Yeah, I would say there's definitely value to it. I'd say posting anything, really, it's going to help you rather than not doing it. But I would say I can maybe show you some search data on SEMrush to see what searches are popular, and maybe you can optimize your blog posts for whatever you're looking for. Because you do have to know what searches are you optimizing for. I'd say that's super important, because then you're just kind of stabbing in the dark, hoping it will like be found by something. But you definitely have to know who your target audience is for the blog posts.
Yeah. So just because I made a video on like fall, listing your home in the fall, it doesn't necessarily mean that if it's in a blog that it'll be picked up, because there may not be enough keywords ranking in the search.
Yeah, the keywords is like super important. Like even for the blog posts I'm doing for my client right now, like everything I really the keyword is sell house fast cash Ontario. So you have to put that like a lot in the blog post, even if it doesn't seem too authentic, but you have to watch that balance. So, but yeah, instead of why you shouldn't renovate your house, you have to put why you shouldn't renovate your house in Ontario. You just have to keep putting that keyword in there.
So how do you keep it from like seeming too redundant in terms of like, you know, if you have to mention it all these times, are people going to read that and be like, why does he keep saying this? Or why does he keep mentioning it? Like, is there a balance? How do you kind of achieve that?
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's authentic, but I guess the way you shouldn't do it, I guess you kind of do have to do it a lot. And even if they don't like it, I don't think it will be too much of a bad factor, to be honest.
No.
If it's just house in Ontario versus house, I don't think they'll care too much. I'd say being found in Google will outweigh it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So maybe bring us through a little bit of like, you know, your business, like for the viewers, what was your business name?
Focus Flow Software.
And what would be your primary service that you offer on there?
Yeah, I'd say I make very good websites that are creative and animated. That's like the key point. They're animated, modern design. I'd say a lot of websites, man, they're done very low quality because it's so easy to make them now. People don't take the time to really figure out the hard way. Like it's a lot of drag and drop templates, but I do it all custom coded. Like I build them from scratch, so I have complete control. I can do whatever I want.
So, you know, there's obviously, for those that don't know, maybe some people watching do know, and maybe they have some experience, you know, there's a bunch of different platforms there's Wix, there's Squarespace, there's Shopify, there's WordPress, there's, I mean, that's just the few that I know.
Yeah.
What one do you use? Is there a good one? And like, you know, I guess like it's so easy to kind of slap one together now that like maybe some people are like, oh, I don't need Thomas. I'll just make my own website. And like, you know, and then maybe they don't get the return they're looking for.
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, it's like getting a haircut. You can cut your hair yourself, but then going to a barber, it's a whole different game. It's like any service, really. You can do pretty much anything yourself, but you want an expert to do it. Yeah, and I see just a lot of these low-quality websites. I don't think anyone's really going to take you serious if they just see just all this text and a picture. It doesn't look cool at all. So you should definitely invest in it because it can have big returns, right? That could be like a lot of new clients that you get throughout a really high-quality website. And it's just a good experience to have, having a great website built for you. And for what I use React. It's like the software that Instagram and Facebook is built with. Like all the big tech companies use it. So I don't use any templates really. I build them myself.
So React.
Yeah, React.
So this is something you're coding it from the
it's like a
ground
framework.
up.
Yeah.
So then all these like kind of drag and drop, click and play.
Yeah.
Like that would be Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, WordPress.
Yeah.
You can kind of upload themes and you know, you can get pretty custom inside of a WordPress.
Yeah.
I had a website. I was in doing a bit of photography back when I was like in the fitness realm, and I kind of got out of that, and I, you know, had a little website and but again, didn't really know the value, didn't really know aside from like posting pictures on it, like, you know, how to generate traffic.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I kind of just fell out of that, you know, and moved on to other things.
Yeah.
But so in your services, are you just doing the website build? Are you managing the back end?
Yeah, I manage everything on it.
So is it like a monthly?
Yeah, monthly thing. Yeah. So I'll develop it and then maintain it every month. I'll give you like a report, maybe what we can change on it, things like that, how to get more traffic, do the blog posts and things like that.
Yeah. And you also do the SEO for it?
Yeah. I'd say the blog posts are the biggest part in SEO. Because, once you have the main website, you can change it around a bit. But then the blog posts, keep adding them. Because Google likes it when you keep updating your content, too. They like new stuff. So I'd say the blog posts are, like, probably one of the biggest things. And the backlinks. Like, those two things is really what SEO is. Getting more people to link to your website and keep adding the blog posts.
So backlinks sounds important.
Yeah.
Can you kind of expand on that? Because through the little course that I started, they're going through all the different facets of what SEO is and the different parts of it. Like, what is a backlink? Yeah.
So a backlink is a link on somebody else's website that points to your website. That's essentially what it is.
All right. So entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Building your own business. What's been some of the biggest takeaways that you've got from being an entrepreneur?
I'd say no one's coming to save you, man.
No one's coming to save you.
It's like, it's all on you. That's what I like about it, because I'm pretty confident in my abilities. Like, you can get as much as you want, but nothing's guaranteed. But I like those odds because I know who I am. I like it a lot. I feel like once you really get it going, it's just like easy money, really. Because now at this point, making a website, I can do it in like a day or two. I just need the clients, man. And once I have that, like, it's easy, man.
Yeah.
Very easy, yeah.
So what would be kind of two of the biggest takeaways from getting into entrepreneurship, maybe for people that are looking to kind of get into that journey?
Yeah.
And what are some of the hurdles that that were maybe tough to get over in your first few years?
I would say you definitely have to be disciplined, and you really have to be able to do the work without getting paid. I'd say that's probably the biggest one. And you have to be able to just go through all the suffering, man, really. I'd say you have to just know it's going to be tough for a long time, but it's how it's going to be. Yeah, because you really have to be consistent. Like I do it 4 hours every day, every single day, like no matter what, 3 to 4 hours of websites, advertising, whatever it is. And you just have to focus on the work and the money will come, man. It's kind of like, I feel like entrepreneurship is kind of like melting an ice cube. Like if it's at negative 100, you have to keep warming it up until it gets to 0 degrees to melt it. But negative 100 to negative 50, nothing will change. It will still be melted or frozen. but you make a lot of progress there, and you just have to keep going until the ice cube melts, essentially, to use that metaphor.
So how would you maintain your motivation to get from that negative 100 to the negative 50 to finally start seeing some of that drip kind of coming out?
Yeah. Honestly, motivation is kind of like a foreign concept to me. I never thought about it. It's just like I'm making websites 4 hours a day. That's it. I've always been like that. Like I've always been able just to work all day, essentially, since I was a kid. So to be honest, it's just I'm working and that's it. I'm just going to keep going.
You're just going to persevere.
Yeah, it's just kind of how I am. I'd say I just go on the computer, set a timer for like 1 hour, go for an hour, go for a walk, do that 4 times, and that's it. Just consistent. Keep going.
Yeah, and speaking of that, obviously it's good to be able to put that grind down and get after it. So do you see some value in taking breaks? Because sometimes I find myself like I have a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
And sometimes I find myself maybe just sitting at my desk until like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Just almost trying to force it.
Yeah.
So do you see value in taking breaks and, and taking time to yourself, or are you just kind of like, I'm going to get it?
Yeah, I'm going to get it. But I usually stop, like I have a stop time for like 9, 10 o'clock. And then I just sit down just like this at the end of the day, just stare at the wall. That's honestly like a pretty good hour. Yeah, I definitely have my recovery time, especially for the gym too. Honestly, if I wasn't trying to make progress in the gym, like I think I would just go like forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, for the gym, you have to like rest and all that.
So do you see a positive benefit in getting your physical fitness?
Yeah, I'd say that's like number one thing, man, because it gives you the energy to go to keep working every day too. And it teaches you discipline and how to figure out things. Like in the gym, you have to find out the best exercises. It's kind of like everything I do in business is like inspired from how I go approaching at the gym. Because sometimes when you're coding, maybe you don't want to, but then it's like the gym, you got to go through the burn. It's like the same type of mental burn when you're coding, making websites. So everything, all of my business principles are kind of inspired from the gym. So that's huge, number one. Yeah.
So what do you think's like the main thing that really hold people back from like kind of cresting that hill from the initial stages of their entrepreneurship into like actually getting traction? Like, what do you think the main holdback is?
Too many distractions and just not being able to go through when they don't see the results. Because I think just like in the world, there's so many distractions. It's so easy to be distracted. And then that takes all your energy away and you won't be able to do the hard stuff that counts. Yeah, I'd say a lack of focus is probably the biggest thing.
And what do you think like the main thing that's really pulling people's focus away? Is it like social media?
Phones. Easily phones. I always intuitively knew this. Like phones just always take so much energy from you. Like when I work, I try to leave my phone just as far away as I can.
So do you use any programs? Like I know I got my buddy Vince, durable grappler.
Yeah.
He does personal training.
Yeah.
He also, a durable grappler program is a program that he developed for our jiu-jitsu folks to help them optimize their training, kind of like search engine optimization, but for like jiu-jitsu and like how to tailor your approach to get better results.
Yeah.
He uses a program, I forget the name of it, but it actually locks him out of social media.
Yeah.
For whatever time period he puts in the program. Like, do you find that have you ever used any of that, or are you just disciplined enough to just leave the phone aside?
Yeah, it's just leave the phone away. But I don't even know of any, so I haven't tried them. But I would be open to trying them. But I just leave the phone away. Yeah, discipline is super important. I'd say you have to construct your environment to make the difficult stuff easy to do, and just do a lot of difficult stuff, man. I'd say just gym. That's really what built the discipline, I'd say.
You like to do hard stuff?
Yeah, cold showers, all that, meditate. That's not too hard though, but.
Well, I mean, to sit there for 20 minutes or half hour or even 10. Yeah. Some people can't do it.
Yeah. Or it's funny, the way I learned to do it, I had a knee injury. I couldn't walk for like 4 months. So that's where I learned to do it. Because I had nothing else to do. I would just meditate. So that's why I learned to do it, and I just kept doing it. Ever since. That's what I learned. And you
still maintain that practice?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like one of the most important things.
Yeah.
I'd say it really resets you and just gets you going, man. I'd say it's like one of the most important things.
Do you use any apps? Like I've been in and out of the meditation space. You know, it's a tough practice to really maintain. You know, we kind of brushed up on like the delayed gratification piece. Like a lot of people, you know, they kind of want results right now. And when I first started, I had this old buddy that was like, he's like, how are you doing with that meditation stuff? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm doing it. But he's like, you see any benefits? I was like, I don't know, but like, I'm still doing it. And he's like, if I did it and I didn't see any benefits, I just quit.
Yeah.
Like, what do you say to people like that?
Yeah, you got to give anything time. Nothing worthwhile is just going to come super easily. Yeah, you just got to keep pushing at it. And yeah, results aren't too important. I'd say focus on making the work better. I'd say you have to go from results orientated to process orientated. Just trying to have a better session in whatever you're doing every day. Like even me, I wasn't making money for a long time with the websites, but I could do something new every day. So I was keeping the progress, and then if you post the progress, people will see it, and then the results come. So you just got to do something better every day, and just focus on that. Don't focus on the results, I'd say.
It's cool that you say that. I had this boss, my old boss. He's still like my good buddy. He's been to my wedding. I call him, I don't know if he watches this, and I think I mentioned it a few times, but I kind of call him like my business dad. Yeah. It's like I grew up very rural. Dad ran a business, but lobster fishing and running a sole proprietorship in terms of electrical business, like there isn't all the other facets of business kind of floating around. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but when you're working for a bigger organization, it's a lot more moving pieces and it's a little bit more complex. And, you know, I'm glad you said like, you know, just working on something else or getting better at something else. And one of the things that my boss, Rick, told me when I first started working for him is like, Chris, you know, every day, you know, if we're let's just pick store calls. Like I was a consumer packaged goods guy, you know, in the gas convenience business primarily, in the tail end of my career, large format. Before that, he was like, anytime you go to a store call, just make sure you leave that store a little bit better than it was when you got there. Yeah. And, you know, that just really displayed like good work ethic and wanting to do good. Why do you feel people have such a problem with this delayed gratification piece? And do you find that that's why a lot of people fail in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I think the delayed gratification, because it's so easy to get dopamine just anywhere else, like Netflix, Uber Eats, social media, and especially social media. They'll see the results, but they don't see all the work. Like I heard the Joe Rogan podcast took like 5 years to make money. So he went 5 years, no money, and then now it's huge. Right. But they don't see that, right? Because no one wants to see the grind. They just want to see the results. So I'd say that's the biggest thing. And then they see the results, and then they're in the process of grinding themselves, and they don't have anything. And then they probably just see something else that looks cool, and they go to that, just keep bouncing. Like I've heard like a lot of different ways to make online money, like websites, maybe drop shipping, video editing. You might see one guy doing well on this, and then you just keep going, try it for a month, try something else for a month, but you never get good at one singular thing. So I'd say that's why a lot of people fail from what I've seen.
So would you say kind of social media in some ways kind of been the downfall?
Like a double-edged sword. Like it can be super useful. Like a car. I mean, you can drive it around or you can crash it, right? Right. Yeah, it depends how you use it. So it can be like incredibly useful, but you just got to watch out. And you got to know everything on there. It's probably taken a very long time to achieve that. Yeah.
So what would you say to people that have a hard time with delayed gratification? How could they maybe get a bit better at maintaining their focus on one thing and not being so distracted?
Yeah. I'd say definitely fitness first. Try to get in really good shape. That will help. And then for whatever focused work you want to do, I'd say, set the timer. That was like a huge one for me. Set a timer, maybe try to go for 20 minutes at the start. See if you can go 20 minutes focused on one thing, and then just try to build it up, kind of like the gym. Maybe you can get to an hour, and then you'll be good from there. Just try to take baby steps, really.
Yeah. And is there ever a point where, you know, maybe you're grinding, you think you're into this, and all of a sudden you're maybe feeling like it's not it? Like, is there ever a point where you could pivot?
Yeah. maybe I have a couple of different interests, but no, I've been in the websites for like 15 months now. Just been going straight at it because I just know it's going to take a long time, and I'm 21, so pretty young. But
Yeah.
no, I've just been on it, websites every day. Because I used to play basketball too. I was a shooter, so I got used to doing the same thing like every day, just hundreds of shots every day. It's like the same thing now. Just do it with the websites over and over. Yeah, I'd say you really have to adopt a craftsman mentality. Just keep grinding at one thing every day. At least cause I have time on my side at least, so I can do that for myself. But you really just have to try to get better at one thing. And I think anything that you're super good at, like if you're the best at any one thing, even like plumbing, sales, electrician, if you're really like that guy at one thing, I think you'll do all right in any realm.
So kind of just keep at it.
Yeah.
Limit your distractions.
Yeah, limit the distractions. Yeah, because there's so much easy dopamine around. Try to get it all from doing difficult things, I'd say. Just always challenge yourself. And then once you do that enough, all the easy stuff, you don't like it. Like I haven't watched Netflix in years, man, because it's just not satisfying to me. Things like that.
Yeah, you kind of got out of that altogether. Eh?
Yeah, because you just want to keep focused on your mission. Then I'd say it really all stems down to you have to know yourself. Because I know like I'm a design guy. I've always known that. So you just gotta find your purpose in a sense. Like once you're on your purpose, I find you can just keep going forever because that's what you're kind of built to do.
Yeah,
I'd say that's the big thing.
So for your business specifically, is there like a niche market that you're looking to service, or are you kind of open to working with anybody in any industry, or is there like a specialty that you're looking to kind of narrow in on?
Yeah, I'm open to anything, but right now I'm looking for real estate in particular because my dad has so many connections. I've been working on like a campaign just for real estate agents. That's what I'm gonna do when I get back to my place. So yeah, real estate. I made a restaurant software too.
I seen that on your website.
Yeah, I should
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to be honest. I just went on the Domino's website because I got something from Domino's. I just realized it was a nice little system, so I just emulated it, built it myself. Yeah, I'd say that's another thing I'm good at, just emulating things, and that's a good way to just learn anything. You just see something you like, and then you implement it in your own style. Yeah, I got that from like basketball a lot. You'd see a move in the NBA, then you just go outside, try it. But yeah, it's a pretty good software. I'd recommend it, especially compared to like Uber Eats or any of the other like skip to dishes. It only takes like 2.9% of the total sales. My one compared to Uber Eats, it's like 15, something like that. So you definitely save some money. So I'd say it's a solid software.
Right on. Yeah. Has anybody in the local market here adopted it, or?
No, not yet. I haven't been trying to sell it. I've just been focused more on advertising. I went to one restaurant, but they weren't interested at the moment. But yeah, it's another thing I have to learn, sales.
Yeah. And do you feel like, is that one of your strong suits, or is that maybe like an expansion plan where you keep doing the back end stuff and you have some people kind of doing some outreach, some calling?
Yeah.
Like, do you have any big plans in the coming months or the coming years? Or
yeah, there's a lot. I definitely need a team at one point. Probably not now because I'm still small, but I would say I've built the websites in such a way. It's kind of like outfits. You build a couple of different outfits like this, and then you can combine them together to make different websites. So I could definitely share my code because I do know some friends from school, like back in Dalhousie, that are kind of like down. If I give them some work, they can just build the websites with what I'll give them so that they can make them. I can focus on the sales, getting the business, and then I can just subcontract it to them. So that's probably what I want to do next. That's like the next step, really, being like a project manager instead of the developer.
Right on.
Yeah.
So you're interested in the project management piece.
Yeah, and the sales, just getting the business, handing it off to my friends. Because it's really just copy paste at this point. Like anyone who knows how to program can do it essentially. Yeah, I've made it really quite simple.
Yeah, so you know your framework of your business, you know what you're offering. Now it's just a matter of getting more business so you can set up these templates, we'll say, that you've developed to apply to the different businesses and clients that you would amass.
Yeah, that's really the name of the game.
Yeah, man. Well, I really like that a 21-year-old is interested in doing hard stuff. Because I've always been a guy, I love doing hard stuff. I think it's important to develop your character. It's important to develop that perseverance so that you don't just like give up in the slightest hurdle. You know, because you're going to trip, you're going to fall.
Yeah, life is tough, man.
You know, you got to pick yourself back up. So for me, whether it was running, bodybuilding, powerlifting, jiu-jitsu, like people are like, oh, Chris, why are you doing all this stuff?
You have to, man.
Yeah. That's my opinion too. You have to do it. You have to learn that delayed gratification piece. And the reason that I do a lot of the hard stuff is because you're not good at it right away. And the things that I do take a long time to get good at.
Yeah, making websites, it was really hard at the start. Even, I just been through some tough things too, man. Like, I remember my senior year of school, man. I had like 2 concussions. I was a mess. And it was like my senior year of high school. For the basketball, I could barely play. But then once that healed, I got like a knee injury. Like, I was still training hard, but I just wasn't playing like contact. But I was training hard. I finally learned how to dunk. And then like 2 days later, or a month later, I slipped on a piece of ice.
No.
Yeah, and then I couldn't walk for a month, and I missed the end of my senior season. I was pissed, man.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I know. I was pretty upset about that. So I've just been used to it. But then even the next year, I hurt my other knee. I couldn't walk for 4 months. I couldn't walk properly for like a year. So I just been through it, man. I just been through it, really. It just toughens you up.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're a busy guy. Yeah. I got a call to get to.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate it big time.
I definitely got to pick your brain maybe off site here, and we got to talk a little bit more about maybe some options for a website, some SEO optimization, see what we can do there. And for everybody watching, where's the best place to find you? Where's the best outreach? Yeah,
you can find my website at focusflowsoftware.com or my Instagram at Thomas__Musial. I'd say those are the 2 best places.
All right, my man. Well, I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
We'll have you on again when you got some new developments.
Yeah, sounds good.
Keep grinding, keep doing hard shit, and keep persevering. I'm sure you're going to do great.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll be following along for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, you have a great day.
You too.